Hey, primary traders, Matt Buckley, call sign Wiz, the primary model portfolio manager here at Top Gun Options. Want to get out a quick trade alert. Yeah, at the beginning of the week, even though it's going to be interesting to see how the week shapes up, I see how the week's going to shape up. Asia rallied on the Greece news, the election news yesterday that they voted to keep some grown-ups in charge. It doesn't matter, folks. I'm sold. I'm a seller of it. It's not a matter of if, but when exit is going Greece is going to exit the eurozone. It's going to happen, and the market's already selling off on that. So initially, again, as we've talked about in our live trade briefs and our trade alerts, we get an initial pop on what seemingly might be good news until the market sobers up and goes, you know what, that's actually probably pretty bad news. But what the trade I'm looking at today. So our strategic mindset at Top Gun Options for the primary trade alert and primary model portfolio overall is still bearish, and with a more moderate bearish tint to it. Why? Because look what's starting to be rumored. The Fed's going to meet tomorrow and Wednesday. They're going to come out Wednesday, and look what's going to happen. Only one of two things is going to happen. And like I said before, we're going to sit here and we're going to parse every word of what this Fed says. Because if Bartender Ben says things are bad enough in the United States and the jobs, just the abysmal jobs report, and consumer retail spending down in May, revised down in April, blah blah blah, quack quack quack. Guess what? We need another round of liquidity here. So Operation Twist Part 2, Quantitative Easing Part 3, or as I'm calling it, Operation Snake Eating Our Own Tail. Anyway, it's bad news. But the market, here's what's going to happen. If the Fed comes out and says, hey, we need to pump some liquidity in the market, of course, the market drunks are going to take that as good news. We might see a nice rally, a pretty good relief rally out of that, until people start to sober up and go, what's next? What's the end game? Literally, Helicopter Ben is like Barney Fife. He's got one bullet in his gun. He's out of ammo, folks. And like you've heard me say, if this market had to stand on its own, we'd be looking at Dow 6,000. So what am I looking at right now? I'm going to gold, folks. Gold is a long-term, since we've talked about how the dollar used to be a flight to safety, we're our own train wreck. The more we start printing our own debt and buying our own debt along with the Chinese, the more worthless a dollar gets. It's ridiculous. Gold is the one thing you can count on. And it's also a great long-term hedge against inflation. So here's what I'm looking at. The target is the GLD. Gold, I want to take a look at July out to July. There's some weeklies on gold, but a lot of stuff's going to be unraveling this week. Greek parliamentary elections, France elections, Egypt with the Muslim Brotherhood getting elected just ain't good. So gold is going to be a flight to safety here. So that is our commit criteria. The tactic that we're looking at, I'm just looking at a pure vertical spread, a credit spread. So I want to sell the 150s and I want to buy the 147 puts as a hedge. So I think we can do about 20 of these. Let's try about 20 of these, 20 of these. Let's create an order and see. So there's our tactic. Selling the July 150 puts to buy the 147s for about 41 cents. Let's analyze that. Should be about 820 bucks. Yep, there it is, 82% probability. Our max risk is right there in line with our 5 grand. Only a 10% chance of that happening. There's our potential for a break even. Obviously no earnings. Expiration is on the 21st. I like this trade. It's a high probability trade. I think based on the Fed coming out, no matter what the Fed says, I think people are going to be looking at gold as a flight to safety. So I like this one. Selling. This is a July 147, 150 bull put spread. You're selling 20 of the 150 puts, buying 20 of the 147 puts in your paper trading account, your virtual portfolio, and you can open one by going to trademonster.com/TGO to follow us along with our trades. So I'm going to fire that one down range, and we'll be good to go. For those of you who are in the live trade briefing service, remember that tomorrow the live trade brief is going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern instead of 0900. So again, the live trade brief time is changed for those of you who are in my live trade briefing service, and we're doing great, folks. Again, if you're in the live trade briefs and you're not in the live trade briefing service, let's take a look at the performance since March 1st. When I took over the model portfolio from Clint from March 1st to today, we're up about 27,600 bucks, and that is based on, look at how much capital, only about 36 grand. That's about a 60 to 70% return. Most of it's sitting in cash right now. So that's some pretty outstanding performance. So we're going to go back to the well tomorrow with Google and Amazon and Green Mountain, and go back to trading some of these. So if you're not in the live trade brief services, I strongly recommend you give them a trial. You can go to Top Gun Options /live trade briefs, and you can, if you're going to trade for me for 14 days, it's 14 bucks, $1 a day. If you're going to trade with Doug, our intermediate advanced portfolio manager, he trades volatility arbitrage, straddle, strangles, condors, iron condors, butterflies, broken wing butterflies. Or I obviously strongly recommend you take a look at both. You see how I trade, you see how Doug trades, you get a well-rounded model portfolio, and we're doing really well. So if you're not in the live trade brief services, get in it. And we made it extremely cheap just so we can show you that we're crushing it in this volatile market, and you shouldn't be hiding your head in the ground and scared about what's going on. So I'll see many of you tomorrow morning at tomorrow afternoon at 1300. That's 1 p.m. for you non-military types in our primary live trade brief. Otherwise, putting on that gold bull put spread for July. Let's see if we got filled on that. And again, this is a paper trading account, so sometimes the fills are a little slower there. What's the market looking at? I'll go down to 40 cents because I want to get into this trade. And there we go. So I will talk to you guys later. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge.